Welcome back to SculptrVR. Uh, Today I want to show you a little bit more about the paint, the palette, and the painting tools. We're going to start off with a sphere again, and just to remind you that the default is kind of a rough texture. You have to go into layers and choose smooth in the layers to get that smooth circumference there, a smooth sphere. Um, this is the palette right here that comes up, and you have 16 preset colors, and you can change those colors by clicking on the palette. And you can then place your cursor wherever you want. And so if you want a blue color right here, you can pull up on it and it lightens it. You push back on it and it darkens it. So somewhere in the middle there, you can pick out a various shade. It's not totally accurate, and you kind of go by feel, but you can. It's got what 16 million colors, so you can pretty much get any color you want. So we're going to get that blue there, and we'll make another sphere, but this time we're going to go down here. If you look down here, you have three different ways that color can be utilized. One is a regular, just a matte color. Another one is the shiny. And this, if you select this one, now you have a shiny sphere. And we can change the color on that. And now let's make it red. And shiny. And now we have a shiny sphere here. So we'll just go ahead and put that up there. And then the other one is illuminated. And this is sort of means that it's illuminated from within. It doesn't really give off light, but it's a super bright color. So those are your three different ways of using the color, and then you have your ways of selecting color. One thing that you may not be aware of is if you wanted to get a color off a color picker, say we have this yellow ball here, and we put that out there, and now say we want to change to another color, you go to here, and then instead of finding a color here, you can click on one of the colors that are out there, and it'll automatically pick up that color. So if you want to perfectly match a color that you already have, and for some reason perhaps you've been changing colors in the palette, and you've lost the color and you want to get an exact match, you can do that. You click on this, and then instead of clicking a color here, you click on the color that is in your that's already out there, and then you can use that color. And that's a handy little feature that not many people know about. It's kind of a hidden thing. Let's go take a look at some of the colors now. I'm going to go back and we're going to go to Scene, New, Ready, and Yes, and that deletes all of that. You're probably familiar with the settings and the scene. The settings, there's a fog that you can go through, and you can go no fog, and then you have various levels of fog. The default is 2. That seems to work. Rotation, you have, I think, 4 different here. Free means that you can rotate. Let's go ahead and put something out there. Let's put a square, a cube here. And so rotation freely means that you can select that and rotate that pretty much any way you want that to. You can rotate it around and about. I'm going to get rid of this other one here, make it much smaller so it doesn't get in the way, so we can see what we're doing here. So this is free rotation. If you click on fixed up, it will only rotate. It'll you can move it, but you can't rotate it. The 2 hand up, if you select that, whoops, didn't want to do that. Let's go back here. Well, I'll leave it alone here. Let's see, let's go ahead and get rid of that. All right, so now, all right, we're back to here. So you can the 2 hand up means you can move it around, but you really can't rotate it. It doesn't rotate at all. And then the none, we're back to no rotation at all. You can move it, but you can't rotate it. So I generally keep it either on fixed up or on none. The floor grid can be either turned on or turned off. Vibration, this is for your controllers. And handedness, I'm right-handed, but some people, if you're left-handed, you can change that dominant hand as well. So those are the settings, and the scenes you can either load or save, or create a new one. So that's basically the palette, and it gives you, as I said, a lot of colors, a lot of variety, a lot of ways of using that. Now we also have a couple of brushes, and the one brush that we're going to look at is on the side of the sphere menu. We have the sphere, we have the smoothing brush, we have the bulge deflate, and then we have the paintbrush. Now the paintbrush, you can paint an object, and that'll cover up the entire object. You can change the size of the paint brush so that you can get let's pick another color here. Let's pick a red here, and then by making the paintbrush smaller and smaller, let's move this closer, you can get quite fine detail. This is as small as it gets, right about there, and that's good for maybe writing or getting fine detail. So that's your paintbrush, and the blend paint is different. We touched on that a little bit the last time. The blend paint, if you hit that top right button again, we're in blend mode, and we'll make this thing, the size of this, a lot bigger now. And now when we go in, we can now have these colors blend. You can put another color in there, and that'll blend with it. It doesn't color it opaquely, but it gives you a chance to kind of blend things. So those are your two, blend paint and basic paint, that you can use there. The other paint tool is down here under the cone. So you can actually create a cone, or you can go over to the paint tool and you can use the cone as a paintbrush. And this gives you, again, either fine detail, or as you get closer, it'll get bigger and bigger until finally you can just use the whole thing. And again, this is sizable as well. And again, this gives you the option of using fine detail paint or broader strokes, depending on how you apply that. So that's, I hope you're being able to see this. I keep dropping these things down into my lap. So those are the painting tools, and with the paint and the palette that's available to you, we're going to go ahead and do a new scene here and get rid of everything here. Now down at the bottom, this is an interesting little thing. We've got a little rocket ship, and it's just for fun, I guess, because you can just fire it off. And if you have some, let's see, let's create a couple of things here. We've got a ball, and we got a thing like there, and okay. Now, if we go back and we select this rocket and we fire it, it blows it up. So it's kind of a weird little thing, but it's kind of fun. But next to it, we have the sun and the moon. And again, we need to put some objects in there so we can see what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to put in a sphere. We'll put in a square, cube. We'll put in let's get another different color here. We'll put in anyway. Now, using the tool down here, we can change the lighting just by moving the controller around. We can change the light source. We can change where the sun is. We can now we have the moon coming up, and you can see that as you move this around, you can get different lighting effects, and it's kind of cool. So that's the sun and moon feature that we have here. And you can see down in here that the sun is glowing, and this little thing here. Let's select that as an object, and put that sphere out there, and you can see that in certain, like in the low light situation, it really does glow. And we use the red, and let's see what else we've got here. Now white. Let's do the glowing. Put it up there. So you can see the different kinds of effects that you can get with the SculptrVR. And we focused today on the palette and on the painting. So let's go back here to new, ready, yes, and we're back to our standard. So you can see that there's lots of ways of customizing the workspace, the display space, and how you actually use the tools. I hope this was helpful for you, and as you continue to work with SculptrVR, I hope that you'll continue to just experiment and find different ways that you can use all these tools to create things that just out of your imagination. Just have fun. So until next time, be out there and play with SculptrVR.